Tonight on CTV News, more success in the fight to get rid of zero-hour contracts, relief for those with asbestos concerns, and is the city finally getting through its insurance woes?
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. They've nearly done it. The United Union has successfully managed to get every fast food chain to eradicate zero-hour contracts, except for one, McDonald's. And tonight workers will continue to keep pushing for change. Jared McCulloch reports.
It's looking more and more positive for a number of fast food workers here in Canterbury, with restaurant organisations continuing to tear up zero-hour contracts. In the last week, two of the largest fast food outlets have decided to move away from the no guaranteed hour agreement, with restaurant brands who operates KFC, Pizza Hut and Starbucks taking the first step, and Burger King dropping the contracts yesterday. Now they're wanting McDonald's and Wendy's to follow suit, with the Big M making a decision on Monday to move away from them, but the United Union says their proposal was a joke. And now the South Island Union representative says he's positive McDonald's will come to an agreement for better work hours.
It's certain that they will come back with something because just the public pressure is too much for them not to. It's just a matter of time.
Members throughout the country are rallying together to protest the chain, with Christchurch workers set to voice their opinion tonight outside one of the burger franchises. And Peterson's believes McDonald's is fighting a losing battle, saying they like the current system.
I think they really like the control that zero-hour contracts gives them over their workforce, so they're really keen to not see it go. And yeah, they're sort of fighting tooth and nail to protect that ability to rule over their workforce. So yeah, they're really begrudging giving that up.
He says New Zealand is leading the way with ditching the contracts, which can put pressure on the international owners to improve working standards elsewhere.
There is an international sort of pressure on these companies to treat their workers with respect and provide solid, well-paying, secure employment to their employees. These companies make millions and millions of dollars around the world, and so New Zealand's a small but important part of these empires. So improving conditions here is really important for New Zealand workers, but it'll also help put pressure elsewhere to improve the workers in fast food everywhere.
He says he's surprised about the quick turnaround response from the restaurants, saying they just want the best for their workers, and he says the support has been huge.
I knew that we were onto a solid campaign and that if we mobilise support that we'd be able to achieve real change. I think the thing that has been really hard to predict and it's been kind of overwhelming is just the level of public support that's come out against these contracts. Like our members, the sort of willingness of our members to sort of take action and be involved has been phenomenal, and support across different unions and community groups, churches and media and civil society, like everyone is just united around these things and sees that it's fundamentally unfair and wants to see that change. So that's been the real surprise to me. It's just the level of public support and anger.
The union hopes McDonald's can improve their zero-hour contracts proposal and says if they don't, they plan to continue to get the chain to change their mind.
If McDonald's refuses to budge and refuses to change, then that will just mean that we'll have more members getting involved in actions and activities, and we'll be taking more strike action and calling on our supporters to be more involved and putting more pressure on the company.
In a statement, McDonald's says, whether it's scheduled or work hours, we have committed to move away from zero-hour contracts, and we're committed to bargaining and working through the detail with Unite Union. They implied also that the Unite Union have walked away from the bargaining table. A protest is set to happen at the Linwood McDonald's tonight in under an hour's time. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Christchurch police are asking the public for help after a young woman was sexually assaulted last Tuesday. The 22-year-old was sitting outside Maiko Wakefield's by the bus stop on Cranford Street, visibly upset, when a passing motorist offered to give her a lift to another bus stop around 2 p.m. She told police she was instead driven to an enclosed logging yard on Dickies Road, where she was sexually assaulted in a car for some time before being dropped off on Main North Road. The offenders, described as Maori, 30 to 40 years of age, clean-shaven, driving a dirty white early model Mazda Familia with tinted rear lights. A Christchurch City Councillor is calling for his local bridge to be urgently replaced. Glenn Livingston says the Pages Road Bridge is earthquake damaged and is a vital lifeline to the suburb.
Earthquake damaged and broken, this new Brighton Bridge is only 20 to 30% of the building code. Christchurch City Councillor Glenn Livingston says the Pages Road Bridge needs to be completely rebuilt before another earthquake hits and finishes it off.
This is a top priority. It needs to be addressed.
New Brighton resident Emma Payne approached her local city councillor after becoming fed up with the state of the bridge.
I can't help but wonder what it's going to look like if there was another emergency, like a earthquake that compromised our bridge, what that's going to look like for me, my family, my street and my community. How are we going to get out and how are services going to be able to get in? Councillor
Livingston wants the New Zealand Transport Agency to stump up more than $7 million to replace the bridge. The council will pay nearly $8 million, or 52% of the cost.
I drive over this bridge pretty much every day, sometimes more than twice a day as well, and you can't help but sort of question the soundness of the bridge. You can see that it inclines where it's not meant to. You can't even walk on the footpath at the moment either.
The NZTA wouldn't comment on the matter, instead referring all questions to the City Council. But in February last year, former Skirt General Manager Duncan Gibb told the press a new Pages Road bridge would be built, but work couldn't start before repairs to the Bridge Street Bridge were finished, and that work finished last month. A Skirt spokeswoman today told CTV News the bridge was originally going to be rebuilt, but following a decision made by Sarah, the NZTA and the Christchurch City Council last year, it will now be repaired. That work won't start until 2016. But Emma Payne says that's not good enough.
The bridge being replaced is pretty important and it should be a top priority for central government to fund it for us as well.
The 26-year-old is now leading the charge with a petition and online campaign.
Trying to get as many signatures as I possibly can and get the community together to let government know that we really do need this bridge. It's not a want, it's definitely a need.
But this isn't the only bridge needing serious repairs. Glenn says the work needs to happen sooner rather than later.
It's not only the Pages Road bridge, it's actually the Fitzgerald Ave bridges as well, which is severely under strength.
The community still has a chance to get the Pages Road bridge rebuilt, but it won't be anytime soon. A Skirt spokeswoman told CTV News any longer-term decisions about the bridge's future will be made once the future use of the nearby residential red zone is known. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A government inquiry has found Christchurch's exposure to asbestos hazards after the earthquakes poses a minimal risk.
Asbestos exposure is unlikely to be a problem for those living in houses which have undergone earthquake repairs. This is the finding in a new report by the Royal Society of New Zealand and the Prime Minister's Chief Science Advisor, Sir Peter Gluckman. While this finding is expected to allay concerns for Christchurch residents, the report concedes that asbestos exposure levels immediately after the quakes were unknown, and with asbestos symptoms often not occurring until decades after exposure, and concerns that there only needs to be one fibre lodged in the lungs that can cause death, the report's finding will likely provide little assurance. Some are also calling for better protection on building product imports, as there is no set testing on those which may or may not contain asbestos traces.
Still to come here on CTV News, the council asks the government to cough up more cash.
Kids television is right here on CTV. Tune in every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. for an exciting range of fantastic kids programming. Join in with all the fun Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on CTV.
At Bowden Environmental, we specialise in all aspects of resource management, so you don't have to deal with the paperwork. With the skills and knowledge to organise any environmental work, we can guide you through the process from start to finish. From organising consents and farm environmental plans to pump and well testing, Bowden Environmental has it covered. Save time and remove the stress. See the specialist. Bowden Environmental. Computer not working? Replace or repair. DIY or get a technician. Looking for parts. Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
Come on down to Ferry Mead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the air gun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21.
Welcome back to CTV News. An insurance advocacy group set up by the Christchurch City Council was calling out for anyone still battling insurance companies to get in touch. The group wants to be inundated with calls for help. Why? Well, it wants to know how many people are still struggling. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
A call for action to highlight a growing problem. Mike Coleman wants insurance-troubled residents to get in touch.
I really want to know how many are still battling.
Speaking to councillors this afternoon during a Mayor in the Chair session, the Canterbury Insurance Assistance Service made sure it was heard. The charitable organisation was set up 2 years ago by the Christchurch City Council to answer cries of help from residents still battling insurance claims. The free service has until now been restricted to the most vulnerable residents, but as of today, that's changing.
I want the numbers to come in and get it out there, tell them that we're here.
The organisation has limited resources and it's partly funded by the Red Cross and the Christchurch City Council. So far, a few coordinators have helped 180 desperate people with their insurance needs, but these advocates know the problem is far greater.
If we suddenly have 1,500 on the books that we can't deal with, that's the issue of the city, not the issue of us.
If thousands of people ask for help, this service will need extra funding and more staff to cope. But the cash-strapped City Council won't be able to foot the bill. Councillor Paul Lonsdale says the government may need to step in.
I know they're actually funding RAS, which is another organisation that does something very similar, but a wraparound service where you can help these people who don't have the skills to actually manage that process.
In a perfect world, of course, it would be wonderful to fund them more, but there are a lot of pressures.
Councillor Goff wants anyone struggling with insurance to tell the City Council at the Mayor and the Chair sessions. The service was once criticised by Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee, as it had the potential to hold up insurance claims by taking insurers to court over individual cases, but the advocacy services representatives say their work is important.
An advocate is quite a neutral way of getting those parties to have a good discussion, because everybody actually wants this to pass and to reach resolution.
The government's answers to the battles between insurers and residents was to set up a residential advisory service, but that service doesn't have the power to advocate for its clients. That's where Mike Coleman comes in. He's dealing with vulnerable clients who need guidance.
And at times all the way to the end of their rebuild, because some folk struggle even once they hit the rebuild stage.
The number of people needing the help of the advocacy service is growing every year, but it takes a lot of time and resources to help each client.
It takes an awful lot to deal with one claim. To do 180 is an awful lot of people to get through.
Insurers are trying to cash settle many of the clients on their books, and as a result, these two facilitators can see the need for their service growing daily. Residents need someone to guide them through their rebuilds. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Police have named the missing kayaka who disappeared nearly 2 weeks ago on Lake Coleridge. He was 20-year-old Hamish Duncan from Hawke's Bay. He had been training to be a medic with the New Zealand Army. After a substantial search and rescue operation using sonar equipment to scour the lake bed, there's been no sign of him. On Sunday, the team attempted to search the area with underwater cameras. Police say, unfortunately, heavy rain, northwest winds and heavy swells have forced the team to return to shore. The arrival of more bad weather on the way is also hampering the search effort, and the specialist divers have now returned to Wellington. In a statement, his family have thanked the New Zealand Army, the police and the Navy in their search efforts. The matter has now been referred to the coroner. It's International Year of Light, and that means Science Alive has taken on the theme of showcasing exhibits to a younger generation, all in the name of education.
Exploring the science of light, these youngsters are taking time out of their school holidays, discovering the science display on at CPIT. Science Alive is running the event out of this facility, usually a space for students to relax with friends. Now it's being transformed for these young students to learn about light in a fun and hands-on way. And the organisation's chief executive says there's even more to explore this time round.
We've got about 30 exhibits in here which demonstrate different principles of light. We've got some workshops for kids to make some simple circuits and create some interesting things using LEDs. And we have some science shows from an international performer from Australia.
The few new additions to the festival allow the kids to either freeze their own shadows or see them being transformed through different colours. It's all about having fun but learning the importance of science as well.
Science and technology is so important as we go forward into the future, with technology playing major roles in New Zealand's development in the future. And with not having a science centre, we felt it was really important to be able to run some activities where we can make people more aware of some of the technologies that are around and get them involved in the program that we have here.
Around 70 kids had a go playing with the pieces of equipment, amazed at what they saw. But one of the exciting moments of the event was a show put on to the students to understand more about light, performing experiments through fire. Dr. Graham Walker has travelled from Australia, coming to show his research and science performance to a number of audiences, and he's done this travelling all around the world. He's been doing this for nearly 14 years, a job he's hoping to do full-time, encouraging the younger generation to take up science. And Petrie says it's great for the kids.
There's a PhD in it, one of 2 in the world, so I believe, that has looked at science shows and the learning that takes place as a result of those. And he's put the light show together for us. It'll be the first time it's been run. We had to get all sorts of interesting chemicals.
It's been difficult for Science Alive over the last few years, with the earthquakes taking their home and having to travel around the city to show their exhibits. But he hopes to see a new premises in the next few months, with final negotiations underway, some of it coming down to funds.
There are some really interesting discussions that are all still very confidential. We're very, very close to acquiring a new site in the centre of town. It'll be bigger. We've got a lot of exciting things planned for that site, which cover a much broader range than what we've been able to do in our old building, where we were very limited with space. So we're looking at creating spaces for preschoolers, for families, for teenagers, young adults, and for the tourists as well.
He says an announcement is likely to be made in June, but for now these kids will be taking home what they've learnt today, with the organisation hoping more and more kids will take up a future in science. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Well, in case you hadn't already heard, Prince Harry will visit Christchurch in May as part of a week-long tour of New Zealand. Further details yet to be finalised, but we do know on his trip is to Stewart Island, making him the first ever royal to visit the island. Well, just over a week out from Anzac Day, the RSA is already getting busy with commemorations for the centenary anniversary of World War I.
Preparations are underway for the annual Anzac Day Memorial, marking the day troops landed in Gallipoli, which this year falls on the 100th anniversary of World War I. The Christchurch RSA has placed hundreds of white crosses in Cranmer Square in time for next Saturday's memorial. It says there are a lot more crosses being put out this year in an aim to represent every Christchurch man and woman who died during the war. And members of the public are welcome to adopt a cross on Memorial Day to represent their family members. Memorials around the country are revving up their annual services in preparation for Armistice Day in 2018, which will be an even larger commemoration. This year's dawn service will take place in Cranmer Square from 6 a.m. next Saturday, where Mayor Leanne Dalzell will lay a wreath on behalf of the people of Christchurch.
And still to come here on CTV News, the Crusaders train for their match against the Chiefs and the region's weather. When you need to know what's happening in your region of Canterbury, join me, Chris Lynch, for CTV News First at 5, weeknights from 5, right here on your local channel, CTV.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
Welcome back to CTV News. Now don't forget, the newsroom is always keen to hear your story ideas, your tips or your feedback, so make sure you give them an email. It's just news@ctv.co.nz. And don't forget, this broadcast repeats itself at 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. every night on CTV, and of course we're also on demand at ctv.co.nz and on the Rebuild Christchurch website as well. Well, a bit of sports news now, and the Crusaders are playing the Chiefs this weekend, but are they up to the mark? Gordorama finds out.
It may not be do or die just yet, but Friday night's match against the Chiefs could go a long way to impacting on the Crusaders' title aspirations. After last weekend's loss to the Highlanders, the Crusaders take on the 4th place Chiefs, and with the Cantabs sitting 8 competition points behind this week's opposition, another loss could see them playing catch-up. The two sides met back in round 3, with the Chiefs resounding 40 points to 16 winners. Coach Todd Blackadder knows his side will need to be at the top of their game this time round.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most disappointing performances I've been involved with, so not great memories, and it's our opportunity to turn the tables.
Ryan Crotty is the big exclusion from the team sheet after suffering an injury against the Highlanders. Meanwhile, after making his 100th Super Rugby appearance last weekend, Owen Franks moves to the bench, with Nepo Laulala coming in as the Crusaders' forward pack continue their trend of rotation.
Yeah, just getting the best out of everyone. Nepo was probably going to start the week before, but it was Owen's 100th game, and we want to start those guys on those milestones, so we don't really lose a lot.
The two sides have thrown up a catalogue of classic matches over the years, but with the Chiefs grabbing the rub of the green in recent times, the side needs to improve.
We've just got to win the physicality battle. You've got to be well organised. You've got to be prepared to take your opportunities. Last time we just weren't. We breakdowns. We're just missing the threats around the breakdown. Passes weren't going to hand. We weren't chasing. It was an abysmal display, so we're going to have to be at our very best.
Friday night's match kicks off at 7:35 from AMI Stadium. Gordon Findlater, CTV Sport.
Thanks, Gordon. Now time for the region's weather outlook.
Good evening, Canterbury. A much warmer day today, but windy out there as well. Let's check out today's temperatures. Timaru, you're on 12 degrees today. Temuka and Geraldine, slightly warmer on 13. Ashburn and the Methven, 12 for you. Rikaya, 12 as well. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, you all shared a high of 12 today. Lincoln and Christchurch, 12 degrees. Over in Akaroa today, you were slightly cooler, one of the coolest in the region, in fact, 11 degrees. Further north, Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, you hit a high of 12. As for Culverden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot, your high today was 12 degrees. Kaikoura slightly cooler on 11. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather now. Timaru will be mostly fine and sunny with some cool southwesterlies dying out later on in the day. Tonight's low is 0. Tomorrow's high, 15.
Bluebirds fly.
As for Ashburton, there'll be some clear skies but light winds here and there, so it should be a rather cool day tomorrow. Your overnight low is 0. Tomorrow's high, 15.
Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind.
Christchurch, sunshine for you and some cool breezes for your Thursday, with some southwesterlies at first and then they'll change to northeasterlies later on. Tonight you're sitting on 0 degrees. Tomorrow's high though is 15.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Up in Kaikoura it'll be mostly fine and sunny with some cool southwesterly winds. Expect them to disappear later on in the day. Your overnight low is 0. Tomorrow's high, 15 degrees. Taking a look at the other areas around the region now, Temuka and Geraldine, a cold start for you on -2 with a high of 17 expected. Methven 15 for you, Rakai similar picture 15. Darfield, Leaston, Rolleston and Lincoln expect 15 degrees tomorrow. Over in Akaroa tomorrow you'll have an overnight low of 0, your high tomorrow will be 15 degrees. And Akaroa shares the weather with Kaiapoi, Rangiora and Amberley, also on 15 degrees tomorrow.
Way up high,
Culverden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot wrap up warm tonight. It'll be -2 degrees, 17 your high. Looking ahead for Canterbury now, will be much milder on Friday with some sunny periods in high cloud and some moderate northerly winds. There'll be a cool southwest change during the evening and some rain is expected. Saturday morning we'll see showers at first, but they'll clear with some sunny periods increasing during the day and cool southwesterlies dying out. Expect some northeasterlies to come through. Put the sun in Sunday, fine weather will be around with some high cloud increasing and moderate northeasterly winds. As for Monday, it'll be cloudy with some rain here and there and a fresh, cool southerly change. Tuesday, showers clearing, but skies will be mostly cloudy with some cool southwesterly winds dying out later on in the day. But for now, that is your weather for Wednesday.
Put the sun in Sunday, very nice. And before we go, Spraydon locals will be without their library. The Spraydon Library will be closed from Monday for 2 weeks for earthquake repairs, so at least it's good news. It is going to be back up and running again. It's one of a number of city libraries that will be earthquake strengthened. The Papanui Library is next on the list. That's scheduled for repairs in mid-year. Now, before we go, that cold snap is pretty chilly outside, and the Christchurch City Mission is urging anybody with some spare blankets to drop them off at the mission's headquarters on Hereford Street. So if you can help them out, they would really appreciate that. And that is CTV News for Wednesday. You have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.